Uh, uh, uh. On the Deer Squad episode, when it says the tickle scene, Lola says, "Don't worry, nothing can stop me. It's Vine time." Then Lola asks, "Wood, whoa!" Then Lola asks, "A little help here?" Then Lola explains, "Look out!" Then Kai says, "Whoa, everybody, look out, tree vines." Then Lola began to laugh. Lola says, "Ha ha ha, guys, help!" And then Kai asks, "What's so funny, Lola?" Then Lola asks, "The tree vines are tickling me." Or when Molly says, Gil, don't you think that's a little too high in the... Just like that when Lola says, "Stop it." Then Lola asks, "That tickles." That's where I said, "Wait, Speedy, I think I found him." That's where I said, "Well, Speedy, I think I've been so scared by going on us, right?" Then Speedy said, "Yeah, me too." Then Speedy asked, "Well, the good news is we don't have to face our fears because the ride is broken." Then Speedy asked, "This is it, Anna." Then Speedy asked, "We made it." And then I asked, "We're not scaredy cats." Speedy asked, "We're not gonna get the scareties." Then me and Speedy ask, "We're brave." Where Kai says, tickling her. Then Kai asks, "I got it. To get Lola free, it's by tickle the tree." Then Kai asks, "Stu, Sophia, can you guys tickle the tree?" Then Stu and Sophia says, "Okay." Then Lola says, "Silly vines, don't tickle my nose. It tickles." Then Kai asks, "Hold on tight, Lola." Then Stu says, "Come on, Sophia, I need you to tickle the tree." And then Sophia says, "I'm with you, Stu." Then Lola says, "Whoa." Then Lola says, "Ha ha ha." Then Lola says, "Wee." Then Lola asks, "It's working. Keep going, you two." Then Lola says, "Ha ha ha." And then Lola says, "Whoa." And then Lola says, "Woohoo." Next to Scout says, "And what do bandits do? They take gold." Then Scout asks, "You there, tree, give me all your gold." "No gold, huh? Alright, well, give me all your rocks." "Ha." Then Scout asks, "Huh?" Then Scout says, "A horse. Perfect for bandit scout to make her get on. Yeah, horsey." And the... Just like that when Scout says, "Yeah, horsey." Then Scout says, whoa, 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 what?" Then Scout says, "Easy, horsey, easy." "Aha." Then Scout asks, "You there, help Bandit Scout slow this horsey down so she can throw his lasso." Then Scout asks, "Use your finger to tap the lasso." Then Scout says, "Got it, easy, horsey." And then Molly says, "There it is, everybody." And then Violet Rose, he says, "What?" And then Molly says, "Scout, what are you doing on my house?" Then Violet and Rosie says, "Yeah." And then Scout says, "I'm Bandit Scout, and this is my horse." And then Molly asks, "Scout, it's my house." Scout asks, and then Scout asks, "Nope, this is Bandit Scout's horse. His name is Horsey." Then Molly asks, "Well, your horsey, it's our housey. It's where me and my friends live." And then Violet and Rosie says, "Yeah." Then Scout asks, "You can't live in a horse in the..." Just like that when Scout says, "You can't live in a horse?" That's so funny. Plus, can a house do this? Hey-ya! Then Scout asks Bandit Scout, and then Rosie says, "Oh no!" Or when Una says, "Wow, Molly, Gil, did you see that? Rosie's ball went so far. Let's do it again." And then Mr. Grumfish says, "I'll be keeping this." And then they said, "Mr. Grumfish." Then Rosie says, "Mr. Grumfish." Then Una asks, "Yeah, he's kind of grumpy." Then Una asked, "Hi, Mr. Grumpfish. That's Rosie's ball." And then Mr. Grumpfish asked, "It's mine now. Everything that falls in my garden is mine. See, it says so right here. Mine." And then Una asked, Really, Mr. Grunfish? You keep everything that falls in your garden? Then Mr. Grunfish says, yes, I did. And since this ball falls in my garden, it's mine. Then Molly says, well, we could give you something else to keep. And then Mr. Grunfish says, like what? Where Molly says, well, you know you like gingerbreads, so we have one right here. Then Molly asks, eh? Mr. Grunfish asks, I don't need your gingerbread. I got plenty already. See? Gingerbreads. And then Molly says, we really need Rosie's ball back. Then Molly says, I know, I have an idea. Then Mr. Grunfish says, I don't like fan ideas. Then Molly says, I haven't said my idea yet.